You're listening to the Platte River Bard.
Opera Omaha is always a pleasure to visit, and their 2024-2025 season promises more opera to go, opera in conversation, opera outdoors, poetry and music, and so much more. Plus, they will have 3 productions in their season with an additional family-friendly opera that we will let Allison Swenson and Katrina Thurman tell you all about what's in store. Hello, and welcome to the Platte River Bard. This is Chris Berger.
And I'm Sherry Berger.
And we are here today at Opera Omaha, and we are with Allison Swenson. She is the general director.
Hello.
Yes.
Yay.
And we're also here with Katrina Thurman. She is the director of artistic administration.
Well, hello.
Welcome.
And thank you very much. We have totally invaded Kyle Thomas's office. He's
Yes.
marketing director. We kicked him out, and we are in the heart of Opera Omaha right here. We're here to talk to them about their upcoming season.
Yes, lots of exciting things.
They got a lot of stuff going on, as usual.
Yes. So you just announced your season.
Yes, I just announced it.
And so do you want to tell us a little bit about each of the shows?
Well, sure. Thank you. We open the season with Mozart's Don Giovanni, which is the classic Don Juan story. So we are seeing this very charismatic, manipulative, womanizing main character and his exploits throughout the course of the opera, and it's written by Mozart. And it is one of the most beautiful, timeless scores of all time.
Yeah.
Music borrowed by other composers for their works. It was much admired, very successful when it was written. Sometimes you hear about operas and they don't become popular until 100 years after they were written. But Don Giovanni was an immediate hit.
It was popular in its day.
It was. It was popular in its day, and it was a commission from Prague because they had premiered The Marriage of Figaro by Mozart and said, okay, well, we want some more of this. And Don Giovanni was the follow-up.
This was the follow-up to the commission of Marriage of Figaro.
Yes.
Nice.
Which is perfect since you did Marriage of Figaro last year.
Exactly.
It's beautiful. Absolutely beautiful.
Almost like they planned it.
It is almost like they planned it.
You know, we tried.
And so then after that, because the libretto, it's Mozart. No, I'm saying this wrong. Yes, it's Mozart, and then the libretto was Lorenzo da Ponte, which was the same as Marriage of Figaro.
Yes.
Before. Yeah.
Mozart and da Ponte were frequent collaborators. They had 3 operas together that are all very well known: The Marriage of Figaro, Don Giovanni, and Così, sometimes just referred to as the da Ponte Trio.
Okay.
And interesting fact about da Ponte, which may only be interesting to me, is that for a period of time he lived in the United States, in my hometown, in central Pennsylvania.
Wonderful.
You're kidding. Really? He lived in Pennsylvania?
He did. He ran a farm. He became a farmer.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
That's wild.
That is a great nugget of trivia. And I bet the people around there enjoy that as well.
I don't know how widely it's known. I grew up in a pretty rural area. Certainly appreciation for the arts.
Sure.
Not comparable to what we have in Omaha in terms of cultural vibrancy. But my parents are both music teachers, so they knew those fun facts.
And what a great thing to be able to be part of Opera Omaha, because you came to Opera Omaha, last year? I think it was.
Katrina and I are both new.
Oh.
I've been here a year and 2 months. And Katrina?
I'm just short of 8 months. I started on September 27th.
Oh. So you've seen one season now, and you're getting ready for your second as well.
Yes, I think I'm starting to understand the shape of things.
Yeah.
Yeah. And hopefully next season it'll feel like old hat.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's the first one, and that's going to be in October.
Yeah, that's a
of
big one.
2023
Such a
or
big
2024. And then after that, you have the Rake's Progress, which is not really a newer one either. I mean, it is in the composition, right? But the story is not.
Right,
is not new.
those are based on the Rake's Progress is based on Hogarth sketches, but it's by Igor Stravinsky, mid 20th century.
I think 1951.
I was going to say, I
Yeah.
mixed that up with like Floyd Susanna's 55. That's the number that always sticks
Very
in
close.
me. So close. But it's also exciting because this is the set that we're using is the very much beloved David Hockney set, artist David Hockney. And this is the 50th anniversary of that set, which began in Glyndebourne, correct?
Yes, David Hockney is a famous British artist, and he was commissioned to design the sets and costumes for a production of the Rake's Progress at Glyndebourne, which is a renowned opera festival in the United Kingdom. And it is still in production in Glyndebourne, and a second set was made, I think, for the San Francisco Opera in the 1980s, and that is the set that we will be using. It's kind of
wow.
it's kind of the Rake's Progress set. What I find really interesting about the pairing of Rake's Progress and Don Giovanni on this season is that our Don Giovanni was written in the 18th century, right? But the production takes place in the 1950s. Whereas the Rake's Progress was written in the 1950s, but the production takes place in the 18th century.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Actually, yeah.
That is well. Yeah, I noticed that difference when I was reading about it on your website.
And Stravinsky was also inspired by Mozart. You have that kind of the crossing. There's going to be harpsichord in both pieces, interestingly enough. So you have
Nice.
this modern, what still is, we have more modern composers now, but
Right.
still Stravinsky can fall in that modern slot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But falling back to harpsichord and using that for what we call recitative, or the conversational parts of opera where people are just trying to get information across quickly. So that's happening both in Don Giovanni with harpsichord and in the Rake's Progress. So you have this kind of melding of worlds, yet one is a much more modern sound and one is classical
Very,
and Mozart.
very classical Mozart.
Wow.
And
Oh,
you, s-
what a nice
you said the set
compliment.
that you guys get to use this one was put together in the 70s? Or in
This
70s?
one was put together in the 80s. It
Oh,
has
the
been
80s, okay.
very well taken care of, I promise you. If we need to do any touch-ups, we can do that here in Omaha. That is part and parcel of renting sets.
So, but
and both
this
the
one has
Giovanni
been-
and Rake's Progress are rented from other companies, which is a great way to share in bringing opera to life in the United States, which is such a big country. Most cities of our size or larger have an opera company, and it's the sharing between the companies benefits everyone.
Right.
That's one of the things that really struck me since the very first time that we started talking with you guys is how much of set pieces or whole sets or even costumes or certain costume pieces maybe will get shared around and have been shared around, like this one. This is a 40-year-old set. Working off of a set that was made, you said, originally in the 50s?
Well, the piece was written in the 50s,
Okay.
and this is the 50th anniversary of this production. So it'd be 1975
Okay.
in Glyndebourne.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Wow.
And this set has been through most of it, if it hit in the 80s.
That's right. But it's a special piece, and it's not
that's cool.
seen that often in the United States because it's a big undertaking.
Yeah.
It's a hard score, hard but beautiful. So sometimes when people hear contemporary music or 20th century music, they get a little nervous, and they think it's going to be very dissonant or jagged. And that
Right.
is not the Rake's Progress. The Rake's Progress
Okay.
is tuneful and approachable. Actually, the orchestra is the exact same size as the orchestra for Giovanni.
Okay.
So we hear some similarities in the color of the sound. But it is a very approachable sound world. What I will say, and why it's not done as often, is it's a big chorus. They have hard music to learn.
Okay.
It's a lot of set changes and a lot of costume changes.
Okay.
And so that's always a heavy lift for our production team. They're excellent. That's part of why we love opera, though, is for
Yes.
the grandeur.
Yes.
Right.
And of the productions we have next season, the Rake's Progress offers the most in terms of grandeur and scale.
That's what I was going to ask. This sounds like it is the most production out of all the productions that is happening for sure.
Yeah.
That'll be the neatest to see for sure.
Well, they'll all be neat to see.
Well, yes.
You know, we don't have a favorite.
Oh,
kind.
okay. All right, fair enough. There are no
Our
favorites
children are
here.
different.
That's right.
But they're all equally loved.
They're all special. No, and that is cool. That is cool. That this one that doesn't get done very often, and that we get to see it right here in Omaha.
Yes, exactly. I mean, how many opportunities will Omaha have where you wouldn't have to drive someplace else,
I know.
far away to be able to do this. Okay, and then you've got your third one, and I'm probably not gonna say it right.
But do it.
Do I get to do a little lesson now?
Yes,
do it.
Please.
It's Giulio Cesare.
Giulio.
And a quick lesson in Italian, and let me see if I can make it quick.
We've been saying Caesar wrong this whole time.
Well, in Italian, when an I or an E follows a G or a C, it softens the consonant. So G-I, that I softens that G, so it's J, Giulio.
Julia.
And when C is followed by an I or E, and in this case it's followed by an E, instead of Cesare, it's Ch, Cesare. So it's softening the C to Ch. So that's just a really quick lesson when you see it, when you're trying to read Italian. And it is counter to a lot of the sounds that you hear in Spanish, which I think is we're more used to Spanish in the U.S.
Sure.
generally.
Sure.
Yes.
So it's easy to kind of go in that direction. But
Right.
But it is Italian.
yeah, Italian. Look for your I's and E's following G's and C's, and then just soften them, J or Ch.
Interesting.
Anyway.
So that would mean that
I love
Caesar
it.
is not Caesar. Caesar is
It's Cesare in Italian.
okay.
Cesare.
You can also
Cesare.
say
You
Julius Caesar.
You can do the English version of it.
We will know what
I
you're
am.
talking about.
Yes.
No, I had recently heard that. I was like, yeah,
Oh,
it's fun.
that's awesome. No,
love
that's
it.
an awesome lesson. And this is a Handel musician for this particular opera.
So this is another opera that was very successful when it premiered, and Handel was very successful in his lifetime. So actually, all three composers we've talked about were successful during their lifetimes. The full title is actually Giulio Cesare in Egitto, which means in Egypt. So Julius Caesar in Egypt.
Okay.
And our story follows exactly that. Julius Caesar's conquests in Egypt and his romantic relationship with Cleopatra. And really, this opera could also be called Cleopatra because she sings so much and she has such stunning music.
She has a big role. Yeah. Okay.
I was going to say that Handel is best known for the Messiah, which we often hear
Right.
around Christmas time.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it has the Hallelujah chorus.
Correct.
So that is our most well-known piece of music by Handel, but he was very prolific. Giulio Cesare is his longest opera, but have no fear. We are not going to do all 4 hours. We are going to trim it down to a very manageable length for our wonderful audience here in Omaha, and actually also for the conductor and musicians. It was the conductor's decision after he conducted 12 performances of Julius Caesar in Paris. He said, "You know what? I think this opera is too long." So it wasn't even Opera Omaha saying, "Could we shorten this a little bit?"
It came to you sort of pre-shortened. Yeah.
Yes, I think in terms of what is the word I'm looking for? Endurance. I think in terms of endurance for the musicians, doing a little bit of a favor. However, every moment is stunning.
I know.
It is
See,
beautiful
I would be
music.
down to watch a 4-hour. If it's good, I don't care how long it is. I'm one of those people. I don't look at my watch. If it's good, I'm there for it. But
Yeah.
I can't imagine doing a 4-hour. I mean, because you want to have an intermission.
You'd have to have 2 intermissions, I would
Or-
think.
It's often a 2 intermission night.
Would that be a 2 intermission night? Oh wow!
I think it's too soon to say, but probably. However, it flies. I saw
That'd be awesome,
Rodelinda, also by Handel, at Carnegie Hall this past year, And I brought some friends from Omaha that had never seen a Handel opera before, and I thought, okay, well, let's see how this goes. And we made it to the first intermission. They were enthralled.
Oh, wow.
Second intermission, I thought, okay, maybe they're ready to go. Let's see how they're enthralled.
Still there.
Stayed till the end, went to the after party, met all of the singers, met the performers. The music really puts you in a certain frame of mind. It has a hypnotic quality to it. And our performance of Giulio Cesare will feature a Baroque orchestra coming from the United Kingdom called the English Concert. And they tour one Handel opera a year. And they are the Handel people. They are Handel specialists. This is what they do.
Okay.
And in fact, they are in the process of recording all of Handel's works and making them available for free online.
Oh, wow.
In a series called Handel for All. And they perform in the United States just once a year. They do a little tour, and I do mean little because they perform once in California and once in New York at Carnegie Hall, and we snagged them for one night in Omaha.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
You got them crossing.
Good job.
Yes. Hey.
Yeah.
You got to fly over.
Yeah.
That's right.
We're going to take good care of them.
Just stop here.
Very
That's
excited.
right.
Yeah.
And that'll be in May, so it'll be a nice, first part of May is a really nice time of year here, so
It is.
hopefully they'll like it then too.
Oh, that'll
Good
be
time
awesome.
to
That
travel.
will be awesome.
Oh, I love it. Now you have added another show, not to your season tickets, but you've added another show that people can purchase separately, which I'm really excited about. You're doing it in conjunction with Laurettson Gardens.
Correct.
Yeah.
We are. So Katrina and I are both new to Omaha, as we said. And when I got here, I was looking at our calendar and thinking, gosh, I wish we could perform more. So we usually have 3 shows in the Orpheum and 2 performances of each. And I thought, wouldn't it be nice if we could perform more than 6 times a year?
Yes.
For the number of people that support the organization and to add to the vibrancy of the city, to really make an impact. How can we do more? And I evaluated our engagement programs, which are so impressive. And you know my colleague Lauren,
Yes,
who
she's
is
wonderful.
a force of nature
Yes.
in the best possible way.
Yes.
We don't do quite as much with children as other arts organizations. And so I asked some questions about that and thought, well, maybe there is an opportunity here for families. And we landed on an operatic telling of Fantastik Mr. Fox, which is based on the beloved novel by Roald Dahl. And of course, there was a Wes Anderson movie,
Yes.
I think in 2009, that made the title even more popular.
Oh, yeah.
And I wanted the performance to take place in a relaxed environment so that kids could be kids and not feel like they were, forced to be on good behavior.
Sure.
Of course, we would like them to be on
Well,
good behavior.
yeah, but I mean, yeah.
But where you could feel a little bit freer.
yeah.
And the story of Fantastik Mr. Fox is in many ways about stewardship of the environment. And so we thought, well, what better place to be than outdoors at Laurettson Gardens?
I love it.
And they have been amazing partners. And we're so excited about what's possible there. I don't know, Katrina, if you want to talk a little bit about how the production is taking shape.
Yes.
Yes, so we have our director for this is Allison Moritz and Gil Rose, who has a Grammy from the recording of this opera.
Nice.
Are teaming up as the kind of the head of our creative team for this. And Allison was able to come just a couple of weeks ago to have a site visit with us. And we went to Laurettson twice in a day to see it at different times of day and to meet the staff there and get a real sense of how this is going to come to life in that space. And our early talks about the creative aspects of this are so exciting. And I mean, we don't want to spoil what the ideas are, but how we're going to use both the outdoor spaces at the park to be part of the scenery, as well as, of course, creating our own scenic design, costumes, and other elements to bring the story to life. And also, I think there's so much to be said for what we will be experiencing in the community around this. We have community partners that are already excited to, be offering special events Fantastik Mr. Fox gear and all sorts of things.
Oh, excellent.
But of course, a lot of free events surrounding that, both at Lauritsen and outside in our community. So.
Oh, wow. This is great. And you're teaching kids opera, that giving them an opportunity that they may not get. So that's just growing for the future.
And there are kids in the show, too.
That's what I was going to say.
Yeah,
That's one of the most exciting things to me is that we have a children's chorus in the show, and that will be cast locally.
Oh, wonderful.
So local children will have the opportunity to perform alongside professional singers, and then with Gil conducting. And as Katrina said, he won the Grammy for conducting a recording of this opera. To me, when I think about programming for children, I think, yes, it's about widening perspectives and introducing children to opera and hoping that they will come around to opera again later in life. But to me, it's also an exploration of career pathways and a reminder to children that you don't have to stop being a creative person when you finish school. There are jobs for you in the arts where you can continue to use your imagination and creativity and all of the talents that you're honing in childhood as an adult.
Well, that's a wonderful message for parents, too, I think, so that they don't dissuade their kids from going into the arts,
Well, Katrina turned out okay.
Yeah.
You do.
Yeah.
Look at us.
Speaking of Katrina, I did read through your biography, and it was... it's just...
Are you
You've
stalking? Are you stalking our guests
Sorry.
on Facebook again?
I do that.
Okay.
Just because, if we're asking questions, I try to ask intelligent questions. So anyway.
Try to give intelligent answers, but sometimes.
But you've had an extensive background. Well, both of you have had an extensive background in the arts. Do you want to talk a little bit about what got you here to Omaha?
Yes.
For me, it's a long story that I can try to make short, but I always enjoyed music as a kid, but didn't really understand or know anything about opera, simply just my upbringing. Okay. But found high school musicals to be super fun and realized people did that for a job. So I went to undergrad for that. And it was there in undergrad that I was guided towards opera from the voice faculty. And I was like, okay, well, I'll try this. It's fun. They felt that my voice was better suited. And that kind of started a snowball toward a career. Went on and did studies in grad school, moved to New York because that's the place to be if you want to audition for companies. We will be going this fall to hear auditions in New York and hear talent.
Oh, how fun.
So I lived there for several years for that reason. But over the years, got opportunities to be in young artist programs. I happened to have been a young artist here at Opera Omaha.
Oh, good.
Oh, yay.
20 plus years ago, and got some training on the ground and really got good opportunities. I did a lot of that. And it just kind of culminated in a career singing throughout the U.S. and in Western Europe. And I got to sing at some cool places. Kind of one of my goals before I stopped full-time singing was to get to hang out with the kids at the Met and sing there, and I got to do that for a minute. So that made me feel like, okay, cool. I can, And then more recent years, I've kind of crossed the other side of the table and have spent some time working in artist management while still singing. So supporting other artists who perform through management, and they're kind of promoting them, and then starting a small arts organization with my husband in Philadelphia. And that helped me to kind of gain some of the tools to be able to come here. And it was always like a long-term vision for me to move into artistic administration rather than teaching, because I feel my skill set is better aligned with that than teaching. Though I love to teach, I'm just not as good at it.
Fair enough.
Teaching is hard.
So that's the long but shorter version.
Oh, it's
No, that's amazing.
So you said that you were here in Omaha. So I didn't catch. Did you grow up here?
Oh, I did not grow up here. I actually grew up in Oklahoma.
Okay, that's not far.
Undergrad there, grad school in Ohio, off to New York. But I did a young artist program here.
Okay.
in the early 2000s. And so what often happens, and if you're not already aware, a lot of opera companies will have a training or an apprenticeship program for young singers, and it serves both sides. The singers themselves get, entry level type opportunities, sing in the chorus, sing small roles, sing for community events for children. And then the opera company also has the benefit of training the singers for the future and hopefully imbuing them with some good talent or gifts, but also having that staff, that young staff who can help boost the artistic goods, I suppose. Artistic. Can't think of the word I want, but having that personnel at the company is also very beneficial.
I think it's always good for people to hear the stories of the people who are able to work in the arts, because I don't think they realize that that's an option. So
I didn't know it either.
It's so good
a lot of us
to hear it. Yeah. And Allison, you also have an extensive background as well. Do you want to talk a little bit about how you ended up coming to Omaha as a result?
Sure. I know I already said that I grew up in Pennsylvania and both of my parents are music teachers. So I grew up with a lot of classical music in the house. My dad was the high school music teacher, and my mom is still a piano teacher. And of the two, my dad was really the opera lover, and he took out a Metropolitan Opera Guild membership in my name when I was born.
Wow.
So I don't know if that's a question of nurture versus nature,
Exactly.
but here I am.
Oh, that's wonderful. Thanks, Dad.
And I played a couple instruments and I sang growing up.
Cool.
And my parents are pragmatists, and so am I. And they said to me when I was in high school, "We know you love this thing. We love it too. Make sure you know how to do more than one thing."
Right.
And
Fair.
I didn't want to be a teacher because my parents were teachers, and I wanted to make my own way. I sang in a choir concert at Carnegie Hall when I was maybe a junior in high school.
Okay.
And we were rehearsing in the basement, and I saw this woman running around with a clipboard, and I went, "Oh, she works here. That's something I could do." So I auditioned for colleges as a voice student, and I ended up going to Ithaca College in Ithaca, New York, and I had basically a double degree in voice performance and marketing communications. My opera coach at the time worked for a company called the Glimmerglass Festival and said, "We have a great internship program, you should apply if you really want to work in opera administration." I did. They offered me a full-time job after I graduated. That's actually where I met Katrina the first time.
Oh, that's great.
And I was there for about 5 years and then worked for the Santa Fe Opera in Santa Fe, New Mexico in a number of different roles for 13 years. Met my husband there. New Mexico was home for a long time, and this opportunity presented itself last year, and I am very, very lucky and grateful that I was chosen to lead this company.
We're glad you're here, both of you. And welcome to Nebraska.
Thank you.
Well, we're really glad that you're here, and we think you both are bringing so much to Opera Omaha and to Omaha and to this season.
I like
really
Omaha.
exciting season. And so you're also in the midst of planning for Opera Outdoors as well, which is coming up in September 6th. Do you want to talk a little bit about what you have planned so far? I know you're still probably finalizing some things, but...
Opera Outdoors is a great kickoff to the season. It is free. First and foremost, it is free. It is at Midtown Crossing at Turner Park on Friday, September 6th. In the unlikely event that we have rain, it will move to September 7th. Everyone is invited to bring lawn chairs, blankets, a picnic, and enjoy an evening of opera favorites under the stars. It's a great showcase for our chorus. They are in many ways the stars of the show, and so we get to celebrate all of the talent that is here in Omaha and that supports our main stage productions all year round. And then we have several principal artists that join us, and it's conducted by our head of music. What would you add, Katrina?
I would say, I mean, it's just a wonderful event, and I believe this might be its 12th year that we're doing this, so it's become really well received. We think we get a wonderful turnout. We're always so happy, everyone that shows up. And our head of music, Josh Quinn, as Allison was already saying, does lead the concert, but it's so wonderful what he can bring to life, the work that he has already done, and in just his first year here with a chorus is they're a wonderful chorus, and he just really brings the best out of them. We're very excited about we've got a couple of guest artists locked in, and we're so excited about them for finishing their contracting. So I won't say their names just yet, but they sing all over the world, places like the Metropolitan Opera and in Europe as well. And it's just going to be a lovely concert, and it's nice for us to be able to offer that to our community. We want you to come to the Orpheum. We want to see those big sets and costumes, but we also want to be accessible in every way and to help people to know that this is a nice first step to getting your feet wet.
Yeah.
Hopefully not literally, but
Right.
we do have the rain
Right.
but getting your feet wet at the opera and starting to see that it truly is an art form that's for everyone.
It is. It is.
We are so grateful to be able to have Opera Omaha and have opera in Omaha.
Yes.
So that we don't have to drive to a big city and we get to
You guys do
experience
such
it
an
here.
amazing job. Every time I see something that you guys do, it's just like, this is for everybody. We should be doing more of that. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And more people should be seeing this as opposed to, actually, I've never seen the opera before. It's like,
Right.
you should go see the opera.
And it's really not that different from musical theater.
No, it's so similar. That's
really
the thing.
not.
And everybody,
just in
everybody
Italian.
loves musicals.
Or some other
But we
language.
provide translations. So even if the opera is in Italian, we provide translations projected above the stage, so you always know what's going on.
I know, it's
really
brilliant.
neat.
There's subtitles. It's like live subtitles.
subtitles.
It's perfect.
Whatever language it might be in. And that's an interesting thing, too. I think that sometimes folks don't know. They just assume opera Italian. But actually, opera is any written story that is written to music and sung in any language. Myself, I've sung in Sanskrit.
Did you really?
Truly, yeah. There's
Wow.
that was
That's
an opera by
amazing.
Philip Glass called Satyagraha, and it was written in Sanskrit. We had to have some folks come and teach us how to pronounce that correctly.
Wow.
But so it is. That's an interesting thing, and also we're having a renaissance in the United States for modern operas that are being written right now, and most of those obviously are in English. And something I find too, as Allison was just saying about musical theater, that it's not so different. These days, modern musical theater and modern opera are closer than ever in their sound worlds.
Yes.
I think so.
So it's not all that shocking or crazy, unless we have a composer that's just like, I'm going this direction and does something that's a little more experimental. But that's even happening in musical theater too.
Oh, absolutely.
So I think the main point really with all art, especially this kind of performing musical art, is it's the story, it's the connection, it's the reaching out and
Yes.
and speaking to people in some way. And that's what our goal is. Our goal is quality. We want to do that in a quality way that people know that they're getting the best kind of experience, but that it's really about reaching out and like, we're all here living, I'm going to get all deep. We're like trying to experience something in this life.
Well, that's true. Well, I mean, the stories and the characters in these productions are fantastic. And,
Of course.
and it is approachable.
Yeah, they are top notch.
It is approachable. Either it's in English and you can understand it, or there's literally subtitles.
Exactly.
Which I know
Yeah.
for younger audiences, I know for certain audiences, they're like, I got to read. But for younger audiences, not that big a deal because all of them grew up watching anime, which is all subtitled.
Right.
So they don't really think that subtitling is
They don't
not a
think that
big
much
deal.
about it.
As opposed to maybe Gen X and a little older. It's like, I got to read now. But
And
it's
suddenly
like,
now with our world, it's like our world is becoming smaller because we can, we have the internet and everything else.
Yeah.
And like I'm thinking of like some of our the shows that are doing best right now on Hulu and Netflix, they're in foreign languages and they're like
international.
Yes.
international. Shogun, for example, been
Yes.
Shogun, and that's
I know,
like,
that was great.
almost completely
it was like 75% subtitle.
exactly,
Right.
but very engaging. And so
Oh,
if,
yeah.
if audiences find it, they're able to do that while watching television or that kind of media. It's
A lot
not so
of
hard
the-
to make the leap at the
Yep, a
Opera
lot of
House.
the foreign
Yeah.
shows have been getting hold, especially as those actors do
Yeah.
American stuff. Then people find the thing. Oh, here's the thing they did in Spain. Let's watch that.
Exactly. And it's so fun.
And it's no big deal. Yeah, I love it.
And those titles are easy to see, so don't think that somebody's going to be having your head in
No,
the way so
it's
you
great.
can't see it.
Yeah.
It's totally.
I thought it was the coolest
you,
thing.
You can see it from anywhere,
And
Yeah.
Yes, it makes
which
it
is nice.
perfect. Mm-hmm. It makes it perfect.
And I know you've got some opera and conversations scheduled and that
Oh,
type
yes.
of thing, some talkbacks. And so I know those are also available, and I love that you are interacting with the community that way as well.
I think we have a rich and robust season, and what's wonderful is that it's all available on our website under events. Like really, even this summer before the end of June, in case you just need an opera fix right now, we have opera to goes happening
Yeah.
in various parks spaces. So you could go to the events page of the website and scroll on down and see what's happening.
And as you plan for next season, I have to tell you that if you subscribe now and you're a new subscriber, you can get 3 operas for the price of 2. And who doesn't love a deal?
Yeah, exactly. We love that deal.
Yeah, and that's a really good price point as well.
Yes.
So all information available on our website, especially for new subscribers. And then please follow us on social media.
Yeah.
On Facebook and on Instagram to see what we're doing now and what's coming up.
I really appreciate your time today and talking with us about all of these exciting shows that you have coming up and the Opera Outdoors. What a great opportunity for families, especially. So thank you so much for your time. It was so nice to meet you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Get your tickets for the season now, and just for new subscribers, you can get 3 operas for the price of 2, which is as low as $38 for the package. Single tickets go on sale in August. Tickets can be purchased at operaomaha.org, through Ticket Omaha, or call their box office from 12 to 5 Monday through Friday at 402-345-0606. And don't miss Opera Outdoors at Midtown Crossings Turner Park on September 6th. It's a free, family-friendly event. Thank you for listening and supporting the arts in the Platte River area and beyond. Please subscribe to our podcast so you are sure to catch all of our future episodes and join us on social media. See you next time on the Platte River Bard.